Today, you will learn about how people in the past traveled long distances before cars and planes existed. Before cars existed, before planes crossed the skies, and long before modern roads connected cities. Traveling long distances was slow, exhausting, and often dangerous. For most of human history, a journey of a few hundred miles could take weeks or even months. People didn't travel for convenience. They traveled because they had to, for trade, for war, for survival, or for pilgrimage. Every long journey required planning, patience, and endurance. So how did people travel long distances before cars and planes? The answer lies in a mix of simple technology, human resilience, and methods refined over thousands of years. This is how people traveled long distances in the past. Travel on foot. For most of history, the most common way to travel was simple walking. People walked vast distances because there was often no other option. Merchants, messengers, soldiers, and pilgrims regularly traveled on foot, carrying only what they could manage. Journeys were measured not in miles, but in days. A strong traveler might walk 20 miles in a day, less if the terrain was rough or the weather was bad. Roads, when they existed at all, were often dirt paths or stone tracks. In many regions, travelers followed rivers, coastlines, or ancient trails passed down through generations. Walking was slow, but it was reliable. It required no animals, no fuel, and no special equipment. For countless people throughout history, their feet were their primary form of transportation. Animal transport. When people needed to travel farther or carry heavier loads, animals became essential. Horses, donkeys, camels, oxen, and mules were used across different regions, each suited to specific environments. Horses allowed faster travel and were often used by messengers, soldiers, and nobility. A rider on horseback could cover far more ground in a single day than someone on foot. Donkeys and mules were prized for their endurance and ability to handle rough terrain. They were common among traders and farmers. In desert regions, camels were unmatched. They could travel long distances without water and carry heavy loads across sand and heat. Animal transport made long-distance trade possible. Spices, textiles, metals, and food could now move between distant regions. But animals required care. They needed food, water, and rest. A journey was only as fast as the animal could safely travel. Wagons and carts. When goods needed to be transported in large quantities, wagons and carts were used. Pulled by horses or oxen, these vehicles allowed people to move supplies, tools, and food across land. Wagons were slow and difficult to maneuver, especially on poor roads. Mud, hills, and broken paths could delay travel for days. Still, they were essential for trade and migration. Entire families traveling to new lands often packed their lives into wooden wagons, moving gradually across continents. For long journeys, travelers planned routes carefully, following roads that offered water, shelter, and safe passage. Roads and infrastructure. As civilizations grew, so did the need for better travel routes. Some of the most advanced road systems were built by ancient empires. The Roman road network stretched across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. These stone roads allowed armies, messengers, and traders to move efficiently. Roman couriers could travel incredible distances using relay stations where fresh horses waited. Other cultures built their own systems. The Inca Empire created stone pathways across mountains and jungles, using foot messengers known as chasquis. These roads didn't just connect cities. They connected economies, governments, and cultures. Travel was still slow, but organized infrastructure made it more predictable. River and canal travel. Whenever possible, people chose water over land. Rivers were natural highways. Boats could carry far more weight than wagons and required less effort to move. In regions like Egypt, China, and Mesopotamia, rivers became central travel routes. People traveled downstream with the current and upstream using sails, poles, or towpaths along the riverbanks. Canals were later built to connect rivers and extend these routes even further. Travel by water was often faster, cheaper, and safer than land travel. Many major cities grew along rivers for this very reason. Sea travel. For the longest journeys of all, people turned to the sea. Ships allowed humans to cross vast distances that would be impossible on land. Early sea travel was dangerous and unpredictable. Weather, navigation errors, and storms posed constant threats. Sailors relied on stars, coastlines, and experience to guide them. Despite the risks, sea travel connected continents. Trade routes crossed the Mediterranean, the Indian Ocean, and later the Atlantic. Spices from Asia, gold from Africa, and goods from Europe traveled thousands of miles by ship. These journeys could take months, but they reshaped the world. Travel before modern transportation was not just slow, it was uncertain. Illness, bandits, harsh weather, and political conflicts could end a journey early. Travelers often moved in groups for safety. Inns, caravanserais, and way stations offered rest along major routes. Most people rarely traveled far from home in their lifetime. Long-distance travel was expensive, exhausting, and often reserved for merchants, soldiers, or explorers. For ordinary people, even a journey to the next town could be significant. How people traveled shaped how societies developed. Trade routes influenced where cities were built. Empires expanded along roads and rivers. Cultures met, exchanged ideas, and sometimes clashed. Travel determined what goods people could access, what news they received, and how connected they felt to the wider world. Every long journey carried risk, but also opportunity. Today, long-distance travel takes hours. In the past, it took weeks, months, or even years. People moved slowly, deliberately, guided by geography, animals, and the limits of human endurance. Yet despite these limits, they crossed continents, oceans, and mountains. Long before cars and planes, humanity found ways to move forward. This was travel in the working past. If you like videos of this kind, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content.